Under the shroud of twilight, a solitary wolf's howl pierced the bitter silence of an ancient forest. The sound echoed like a lament from a forgotten realm, drawing near the figure of an aging hunter whose rugged face was etched with years of solitude and loss. Each step he took stirred memories of battles fought and moments of despair. As dusk bled into night, his eyes met the desperate gaze of a wounded wolf limping in the shadows, a creature marked by both pain and an inexplicable wisdom. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath, the air heavy with unspoken secrets and the scent of impending change. In that fraught moment, the hunter faced a choice as old as time itself: to end the suffering swiftly, or to extend mercy and perhaps spark a bond that defied fate. His decision would alter the course of both their lives forever. The forest floor was quiet under the watchful gaze of an aging hunter. His eyes narrowed as he took in the sight of a wounded wolf struggling to rise. The air was thick with the scent of pine and old regrets. Each step he had taken in life had led him here, to this moment of raw choice and quiet redemption. He remembered a time when he was young and fearless, a man whose only guide was the sharp edge of his blade. Back then, life was simple: a hunt, a challenge, a victory. But the cost was high. Over the years, the weight of every life taken had filled his heart with sorrow. Faces and lost chances flashed through his mind like shadows in the twilight. That old pain now stirred within him as he faced the injured creature. The wolf's eyes shone with a strange wisdom. Though clearly in pain, there was a spark in them that seemed almost human, a silent plea, a call for understanding. It was as if the animal carried secrets of the wild, secrets that no ordinary creature should know. The wolf did not snarl or flee. Instead, it held his gaze, waiting, as if inviting him to act with mercy rather than judgment. Inside, the hunter battled the urge to end the suffering swiftly, a habit of his past when mercy was a luxury he had never known. But the echoes of old mistakes whispered to him, a reminder of those he had lost and the chances he had missed to do right by the world. With each breath, the forest seemed to press upon him, urging him to choose compassion over cruelty. Taking slow, measured steps, he moved closer to the wolf. The creature did not recoil. It remained still, as if it sensed the change in his heart. In that silent meeting of eyes and souls, an unspoken promise was forged. A promise of healing, of second chances, and of a bond that could mend even the deepest wounds. With careful resolve, the hunter knelt beside the wolf. His rough, weathered hand reached out gently, an offer to save a life that had once been destined for a different fate. In that tender moment, in the heart of the ancient forest, man and beast set forth on a journey that would reshape them both, driven by the quiet hope of redemption. Days melted into nights as the forest whispered secrets of change. The wolf, once barely clinging to life, began to mend under the silent care of the aging hunter. Each sunrise revealed subtle signs of recovery, a cautious step, a flicker of determination in its eyes, and a growing energy that hinted at something beyond mere survival. At night, the hunter's sleep was disturbed by vivid dreams. In those strange visions, the wolf wandered through misty glades under a moonlit sky, its eyes aglow with an otherworldly light. The dream spoke of ancient bonds and unseen guardians, as if the creature carried with it the weight of a forgotten magic. When he awoke, the memory of those ethereal journeys stirred something deep within him, a quiet hope that this fragile life might be more than just an injured animal. By day, the wolf demonstrated its emerging strength in small, mysterious ways. One morning, as the hunter trudged through dew-soaked underbrush in search of sustenance, the wolf paused at a cluster of wild berry bushes. With a gentle nudge, it directed him to the hidden bounty. In that moment, the hunter recognized the subtle intelligence behind the animal's actions, a wisdom that surpassed the instincts of any ordinary creature. Their bond deepened with every shared trial and every silent exchange of trust. The hunter's rugged exterior began to soften as a wolf's steady presence rekindled memories of a life filled with meaning. The forest around them seemed to pulse with an ancient energy whenever they were together, a power that was hinted at in the wolf's glowing eyes during twilight, and in the quiet hum of nature that accompanied their every step. The true turning point came on a stormy afternoon. As dark clouds gathered overhead, the forest fell under a heavy, ominous silence. While gathering fallen branches for a meager fire, the hunter found himself in sudden peril. A massive branch, weakened by the relentless rain, began to teeter above him. In a flash of instinct, the wolf sprang forward. With swift precision, it pushed the hunter aside just as the branch crashed down with a force that rattled the earth. That split-second act of bravery cemented their unspoken pact, a bond forged in the fires of mutual trust and respect. In the quiet that followed, as the rain began to ease, the hunter met the wolf's steady gaze and knew that their journey together was far from over. Loyalty like this isn't born in a day, and what happens next will test every limit of their bond. Stay with me. A furious blizzard descended upon the forest, turning the world outside into a white, swirling chaos. The hunter and the wolf found shelter in a small, weathered cabin hidden among towering pines. The wind battered the walls and howled like a living thing, while snow piled high around the door, sealing them in from the raging storm. Inside, the only warmth came from a weak fire that flickered against the encroaching cold. As the night deepened, the cabin's silence was broken only by the relentless roar of the wind and the occasional creak of the old wood. The wolf, whose eyes had grown softer with trust over the days, now began to change. In the dim glow of the fire, its eyes shone with a strange, eerie light, a pulsing glow that hinted at hidden power deep within. The sight stirred something in the hunter. He watched in awe as the light danced in the wolf's eyes, a silent signal that there was more to his companion than met the eye. But as the storm raged outside, the hunter felt a different enemy close in. The chill had seeped into his bones, and a heavy weariness began to overcome him. His throat felt raw, and his body grew weak with a mysterious illness that seemed to sap his strength. Despite the warmth of the fire, a shiver ran through him, and each breath became a struggle against the biting cold. Noticing his decline, the wolf rose silently from its spot by the hearth. With a look that mingled determination and concern, it slipped out into the storm, vanishing into the swirling white. The hunter, too weak to rise, could only watch from his creaking cot as his steadfast companion disappeared into the tempest. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours, with the howl of the wind and the beat of his heart as his only companions. Just when the despair of isolation threatened to overwhelm him, the wolf reappeared at the cabin door. Clutched in its jaws was a small bundle of herbs, their leaves glistening with moisture and a subtle luminescence. The wolf approached cautiously and dropped the herbs near the hunter, nudging his hand with its nose as if urging him to take them. The mysterious bundle was unlike any remedy he had seen before, a gift born of nature itself. Slowly, with trembling fingers, the hunter took the herbs and brought them to his lips. A gentle warmth spread through him, as though the herbs carried the very essence of the sun. In that fragile moment, the wolf's eyes softened back to their familiar amber, and the two shared a silent acknowledgement of their unbreakable bond. Trapped together in the storm's relentless fury, man and beast discovered strength in unity. The blizzard might rage on outside, but inside that little cabin, hope had been rekindled, a promise that together they could face even the wildest tempests. After the storm, the forest revealed secrets the hunter had never seen before. The wind was softer now, and the trees stood silent as if they were ready to share a hidden story. With the wolf by his side, the hunter left the cabin and stepped into a clearing bathed in a weak, pale light. There, on the bark of an ancient oak, he noticed strange markings. Carvings, made by hands long gone, were etched into the wood. The lines and swirls were simple yet filled with meaning. As the hunter studied them, he realized they mirrored the scars that marked the wolf's fur, each groove and curve on the tree repeated on the animal's body. It was as if both were touched by the same mysterious force. The hunter ran his rough fingers over the weathered bark, feeling the deep grooves. In that quiet moment, the carving spoke of a forgotten past, a promise made between the wild and those who walked its land. They told of loyalty and of old debts that had yet to be repaid. Every mark was a silent echo of a bond that stretched far beyond the confines of their own lives. Not far from this ancient tree lay a small, hidden village. The locals there carried old tales passed down through generations. They spoke of a spirit guardian, a wolf that once roamed these woods to protect nature and settle ancient scores. The hunter had heard these stories as a child, whispered around fires on cold nights, but he had never truly believed them. Now, as he looked at the matching scars and carvings, the stories took on a new life. The markings were no accident. They were a message, a call from the forest itself. The wolf was not merely a wounded creature in need of healing. It was a keeper of secrets, a living relic of an age when magic and nature were one. One symbol, in particular, caught his eye, a pair of eyes carved into the oak, glowing faintly even in the dim light, as if they were watching, guiding. A chill ran down his spine as the pieces of the puzzle slowly clicked together. The forest was alive with ancient promises and unsettled debts. His bond with the wolf was deeper than simple survival. It was a connection to a past filled with magic and mystery. In that silent moment beneath the towering trees, the hunter realized that his journey had taken him to the edge of something far greater than he had ever known. In the fading light of a long and winding journey, the hunter's steps grew slower with each passing day. The cabin and the surrounding woods had become his entire world, a place where nature whispered old secrets and every rustle of leaves echoed memories of past battles and lost loves. Time was now a gentle, relentless tide, carrying him toward his final destination. The wolf, ever faithful, never strayed from his side. Through chilly mornings and quiet, starry nights, the creature remained close, its amber eyes a steady reminder of the bond they had forged. Even as the hunter's strength waned and his body ached with the weight of many years, the wolf's silent presence offered comfort and hope. One crisp morning, as a pale mist rolled over the forest floor, the hunter awoke with a deep, unyielding weariness. He sensed that his final journey had begun. There was no fear in his heart, only a quiet acceptance of the inevitable end. In his mind, he replayed the moments that had brought him here, the countless days in solitude, the unexpected rescue of a wounded creature, and the growing magic that had quietly seeped into his life. The wolf sensed a change, too. It moved closer, its warm body settling beside him, as if to share in the last of his strength. Their eyes met in silent understanding, a conversation without words that spoke of loyalty and unspoken promises. The forest around them seemed to pause, the usual clamor replaced by a respectful hush that honored their shared history. As dusk fell one final time, the hunter sat by the dying embers of a small fire. His vision grew dim, and the world around him softened into gentle shadows. With a deep, final breath, he embraced the end of his long journey. In that poignant moment, the wolf lifted its head and released a sorrowful howl, a sound filled with grief, gratitude, and a love that had defied time. Then, As if echoing the weight of their intertwined fates, the wolf collapsed beside him. In the quiet that followed, the forest held its breath, honoring a bond that had transcended the limits of life itself. At the edge of a time-worn cabin, a traveler stumbled upon a scene that defied explanation. Overgrown and weathered, the cabin whispered secrets of lives once lived. Amid the cold silence lay two sets of bones, one human, one lupine, side by side as if they were eternally entwined. The traveler's eyes widened in silent wonder as he traced the worn floorboards with cautious steps, each echo a reminder of the past. Before him, a trail of luminous paw prints glowed faintly against the snow, marking a path that disappeared into the dense, uncharted forest. The spectral footprints beckoned, hinting at an untold mystery that reached beyond life and death. With hesitant resolve, the traveler stepped forward, his fate merging with the timeless enigma of the wild, leaving unanswered questions swirling in the frosted air. Every step echoed in the silence, urging him to unveil the truth hidden deep within the ancient forest.